Memory loss is the most frightening and misunderstood change many seniors face. It steals your confidence, strains relationships, and makes you question your own mind. Now hear me out. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University found that older adults with severe hearing loss had a 5 times higher risk of developing dementia than those with normal hearing. Therefore, this episode is a lifeline since Japan's oldest doctor will show you a simple 1-minute ear sequence to sharpen your hearing and protect yourself from developing memory loss. You will learn 4 quick movements that wake up the hearing pathway and calm the brain's stress response so focus can return. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where East meets West to help you stay steady, clear, and independent. Today, we discuss the hidden connection between hearing loss and memory decline, and how you can interrupt that pattern. Because according to the National Institute on Deafness, about 1 in 3 seniors aged 65 to 74 has hearing loss, and that it is not always about volume. It is often the brain working harder to decode sound, and that extra effort steals resources from your memory. So sitting across from me is Japan's oldest physician, someone who has spent nearly a century decoding the body's quiet signals. Today, he will show you exactly what you need.
Thank you, John. It is always a pleasure. And what you are saying is correct. That quiet fading of sound is one of aging's most overlooked warning signs. As the hearing signal weakens and the brain strains to fill in the gaps, it starts to scramble attention and memory at the same time. Most seniors assume it is permanent, but today I am going to show everyone it is not. So in this episode, we will walk through a 1-minute ear trick that has 4 precise movements, which restore clarity in the hearing pathway. And it is best for you to complete the whole episode since you have to understand the full sequence.
It reminds me of a patient, a retired teacher in her 70s, who came in worried about memory slips and mental fog. We found years of wax buildup and hearing strain that had been exhausting her brain all day. After clearing her canal and doing your routine, she noticed change straight away.
It is remarkable, is it not? When the signal becomes clear again and the nervous system settles, everything else can begin to fall into place.
And that is exactly where I want to go next, before we demonstrate the actual sequence. Doctor, what reactivates when we stimulate the ears, and how does that connect to memory?
Start by picturing what happens in a crowded room. When hearing fades, the brain spends extra energy decoding words, and that effort leaves less room to store the moment as a memory.
That lands, because so many seniors tell me they can hear, but they feel exhausted after conversations.
Of course, and I hear that a lot in seniors. They say, "My ears are fine," because they still catch some words, but they do not notice how hard their mind is working to fill in the gaps.
And that explains why someone can nod the whole time, then forget what was said the second they walk away. It also makes me think about the bigger picture, because we now hear that hearing loss is tied to dementia risk in large studies.
Yes, and this is why it matters. The Lancet Commission has named hearing loss one of the most important modifiable risk factors for dementia, not because hearing loss is dementia, but because it changes how the brain uses itself every day.
That last part is chilling, because it makes memory loss feel less random and more preventable. When hearing starts to fade, what is the first simple thing you check in seniors before you talk about exercises or deeper solutions?
I start by checking whether the ear canal is truly clear, because even a small wax buildup can force the brain to strain all day. And that is where today's sponsor comes in. B-Bird, a company known for the safest ear cleaning tools for seniors. The product we are featuring today is the B-Bird EarSight Plus, an amazing product that lets you see exactly what you are doing without risking damage in the ear.
Wow, that looks amazing. So how is it so safe?
Because it uses an HD camera that gives you a real-time view of your ear canal on your phone, and the lens tube is flexible silicone, so it fits all ear canal shapes.
That sounds like the perfect senior product.
It really is. They even built in LED lights to brighten the ear canal, and it comes with a storage case, so everything stays organized.
And every senior can get them right? What about the customer reviews?
Yes, they ship worldwide. You can click on the card in the top right corner to visit their website and see over 1,400 five-star reviews. And if you order now, you'll get a special 37% off Christmas discount, and you can spin the wheel for a free gift.
Thank you, doctor. Now that seniors can make sure the pathway is clear, let's start with the 1-minute ear trick of today, so we sharpen our hearing and can protect our memory.
We start by bringing the hands to your ears as if we are warming them. The key here is gentleness, because we are sending a message of safety to the nervous system, not trying to force change. For exercise 1, cup each ear lightly and make slow circular motions with the whole outer ear, as if you are drawing small circles on the side of your head. Do it for about 20 seconds and notice the first signs of life, warmth, tingling, or a soft widening of attention.
That sounds almost too simple, but I can already picture seniors feeling something shift.
Yes, and that is the point. When you move the outer ear, you activate thousands of tiny sensory receptors that feed straight into the brainstem, which helps the brain tune sound and regulate alertness. Many seniors notice their jaw unclenches without trying, and suddenly conversation feels less tiring. Think of it as waking up the doorbell, so the brain does not have to keep guessing who is at the door.
So if someone feels warmth or even a little itchiness, that is not a bad sign. What if they feel nothing at all in the beginning?
If they feel nothing, it is still working. Some ears have been quiet for years, and the brain has adapted by turning the volume down and filling in blanks. Stay gentle and keep the circles slow enough that you can breathe normally. Often, the first change is not louder hearing, but calmer listening.
I love that phrase, calmer listening, because that is what people miss most.
Now we go into exercise 2, and it builds on that same calm. Take the middle of each ear between your fingers and pull outward and slightly back, then release, like you are giving the ear a little space to breathe. Do 10 slow repetitions and keep your shoulders down so the neck does not join the tension. Many seniors feel a subtle opening around the temples or a clearing sensation, as if the head has more room.
So it is not about stretching hard. It is about creating space and reminding the brain the pathway is still there.
Exactly, John. And if you do this slowly, you may notice that the room sounds a little cleaner, not necessarily louder, just less muddy. That matters because the brain spends less effort decoding, and that effort can return to attention and short-term recall. It is a small physical motion, but it can change the way the day feels.
That makes me think of all the seniors who blame themselves for forgetting, when their brain is just exhausted from straining.
Yes, and let me add one important nuance before we move on. If anyone feels sharp pain, sudden dizziness, or nausea, they should stop right away and speak with a clinician, because the goal is comfort, not pushing through. For everyone else, the right intensity is the lightest one that still feels deliberate. This is like tapping a sleeping shoulder, not shaking someone awake. And when you do it daily, you will notice you are less drained after conversation, which is where memory begins to feel safer again.
That image makes it feel kind, not clinical or scary.
Good, because the next 2 movements are even more about integration. Many seniors tell me those steps are the ones that make the mind feel most quiet and steady, and research supports this.
That is exactly what I want to understand before we dive into the next part of the sequence. What does the research actually show about hearing input affecting brain function, not just comfort?
Let's begin with what the best research has been pointing to. The Lancet Commission on Dementia Prevention has repeatedly named hearing loss as one of the most important modifiable risk factors, because untreated hearing strain changes how the brain functions every single day. It is not just about volume, it is about the brain living in a constant state of compensation.
That is such a powerful distinction because seniors are told to accept hearing loss as nuisance, not as a brain issue.
Yes, and Johns Hopkins researchers followed 639 adults for nearly 12 years and found a clear dose response. Compared with normal hearing, dementia risk was about 1.9 times higher with mild loss, 3 times higher with moderate loss, and about 4.9 times higher with severe loss, and every 10 decibel drop was linked to about a 27% higher risk.
So it is not only what seniors cannot hear, it is what their brain is sacrificing to keep up with what they can.
Exactly. This is what we call cognitive load in plain language. The brain is spending its budget on translation instead of storage. It is why a senior may follow a conversation in the moment, then later feel they cannot recall details. It also explains why many seniors feel drained after social time and slowly start to withdraw. And when seniors withdraw, memory suffers for another reason, because the brain loses stimulation, routine, and connection.
That part breaks my heart because it sounds like a quiet chain reaction. I hear seniors say, "I am just tired," when what they really mean is, "I cannot keep up anymore."
Yes, and this leads us forward to what researchers are now exploring beyond hearing aids alone. Some studies, including work published in journals in the Nature portfolio, have looked at gentle stimulation around the ear, including the auricular branch of the vagus nerve, and found short-term improvements in attention and working memory in older adults.
So there is real scientific curiosity here, and it also explains why even a small daily routine could feel like more than comfort, because it is training the brain to listen with less strain.
That is exactly it, John. We are restoring conditions the brain needs to do its job well. Clearer input reduces guesswork, and calmer physiology reduces noise inside the mind. When those two happen together, seniors often describe something very specific. The world feels less sharp, and their thoughts feel less scattered.
That is the feeling seniors are chasing, that sense of mental steadiness returning. Doctor, with that research in mind, can we go back to the sequence and continue with the next movements so listeners can feel that shift for themselves?
Yes, John. Let's begin with exercise 3, because it brings a gentle lift into the parts of the ear that often go quiet first. Take your thumb and index finger and pinch the upper rim of your ear, then slowly pull upward and release. Do that 10 times on each side, steady and soft, like you are waking up a sleepy muscle. Keep your breath calm so the brain learns that listening does not have to feel like work.
That feels surprisingly soothing, almost like my head is getting lighter.
That reminds me of what seniors say in my clinic. They often notice a little warmth near the temples or a soft easing in the jaw, and that is the nervous system letting go. If you feel tenderness, do not push through pain, just reduce pressure and slow down. The goal is not force, it is clarity with comfort.
I can imagine seniors doing this and suddenly realizing how tense they have been for years. When you say clarity, do you mean clearer hearing, or clearer focus, or both?
Both can happen, and the key here is why. When the ear and surrounding tissue feel more mobile, the brain receives cleaner sensory cues, and it stops guessing as much. That guessing is exhausting, especially after 60. So even when volume does not change, listening can feel easier and focus can return faster.
That feels like such a hopeful distinction.
Now we move to exercise 4, and this one often surprises seniors the most. Use your 4 fingers to gently fold the ear forward, so it lies flatter against the side of your head, covering the opening. Then, with your fingertips, make small circles in a clockwise direction, as if you are creating a soft whooshing sound for the brain. Stay there for about 20 to 30 seconds, then switch direction and let the motion stay smooth and unhurried.
It almost feels like the mind gets quieter when the whooshing starts.
Yes, because you are giving the brain a steady rhythm it can trust. You are stimulating the front and back of the outer ear at the same time, and that can shift the body toward calm. If anything feels sharp, irritating, or dizzying, stop and return to simple, gentle rubbing around the outside.
I like that you keep saying trust, because that is what memory loss steals first. What should seniors pay attention to right after this, so they know they did it correctly?
Look for small signs, not dramatic ones. A softer jaw, a warmer ear, less tension behind the eyes, or the feeling that speech sounds less muddy are all good signals. Some seniors notice they stop holding their breath while listening, and that alone changes the brain's energy. And when the brain spends less energy decoding, it has more room for attention and short-term recall.
This feels practical, not mystical, and that matters to me.
Now let me name the 1-minute sequence so it feels simple and complete. Start with about 20 seconds of whole ear circles, slow and gentle, just to warm the tissue and wake up sensation. Then take 15 to 20 seconds for the out and back ear pulls, steady and light, to create a sense of space around the ear and jaw. Next, spend another 15 to 20 seconds on the upper ear pinch and lift, because that top rim often holds the quiet tension that makes listening feel tiring. And finish with 20 to 30 seconds of the fold forward whoosh rub, soft circles that settle the nervous system and help the mind feel clearer.
I can already imagine listeners trying it tonight.
Good. And before we close, I want seniors to remember one thing. The goal is not perfect hearing in a day. It is a brain that no longer has to fight to understand life.
That is beautiful, and it feels deeply human. Before we wrap up, could you leave our listeners with one final line to carry into the week?
Protecting memory is not only about brain puzzles, it is about protecting input, staying connected, and making it easier for your brain to understand the world without strain.
And if you want to make sure the pathway is clear first, the B-Bird EarSight Plus is linked in the description and top comment, so you can check safely and stop guessing. With that, please like this video, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. We wish you a lovely night. Oh, and watch this next video right now.
Yes, please.
We've picked this one especially for you.